Praise who? Great God, universal Allah. Praise who? Praise who? First, let's start out. Let's start out. Let's call a divine court hearing and transfer. Divine court hearing and transfer the Wells Fargo entity. Arrest, capture, contain, incarcerate, incinerate, castrate, and cast into the great God universal Allah's lake of fire for the divine amount of time and space. Sentenced to Gehenna. Sentenced to weeping and gnashing of the teeth. The divine mass amount, they come in many. Their mass is a mass consciousness. So they come in many. They come in the form of Fox. They come in the form of Rothschilds. Divine court hearing and transfer Fox. And the Rothschilds. Divine court hearing and transfer. And basically, guys, what happens, the only thing that's going to happen, it's a lot that's going to happen, but pretty much EYE Infinity, a vessel of the great God, universal Allah. Listen, this is all this world consists of. There are the vessels of the great God, universal Allah, and they may not even recognize themselves, but it may be that one, they may not even have a religion. This is fun. I'm having fun right now. I don't want to avert topics, but they may not even have a religion. They may not even understand the great God, universal Allah. They may not know in this lifetime. They may not know the great God, universal Allah. They can still be a vessel of righteousness. These people that you see, they are benevolent creatures, humans. They do good. But they may not genuinely or intimately or consciously know there is a great God, a creator of all creations. Yeah, a creator of all creations. So, it's all. This is it here. This is it. It's only vessels of the great God, universal Allah. Vessels of righteousness. They're in right standing. Not just there, but we're in right standing with the great God, universal Allah. Right? I just paraphrasing. It's in the Moorish, the Holy Quran, Circle 7, Moorish Science, Temple of America, but the Circle 7 Quran, it's, I don't read, but it's some chapters that reference beings basically doing the will of the great God, Allah, just by doing good to their fellow mankind. Like, they may not have a huge mission, but they've done good to their fellow mankind. And this is good. It's good. It's great in the eyes of the great God. So, look, this is it. It's only vessels of righteousness here. Vessels that are in right standing. All have sinned and fallen short of the grace of the great God, right? All have sinned and fallen short. We all sin and fall short if we incarnated into a flesh body, right? except for, obviously these universal consciousness beings that are in their full glory. They're in their full glory, like depicted Yahweh Shai and the like. But yeah. But to be in right standing with the great God Universal Allah, one is in alignment with the intent of the great God Universal Allah. If you remember how um Paul, who was changed to Saul, um he struggled in his letters. He struggled with sin, but his intent was to do good and be good. So that's really what makes one actually in right standing with the great God Universal Allah. So I say that too. I point that out because it's not about a religion or anything like that. Again, we practice Islam. I self-law and master. We're more Moorish American, Muslim, right? But that is just our earthly salvation. Look at that. I'm tired of seeing you. Divine transfer to and from that. Divine transfer to and from these animate and the inanimate vessels and the animate vessels driving the inanimate vessels, any pet vessels, and the divinely chosen connected to them to receive this divine transfer of negative record memory and energies from straight from this Mother Earth vessel's book of life. So this negative transfer is coming from my mother, from her book of life, because these vessels have terrorized so many individuals. Anyone that I see, the whole time that I've been in Atlantic City, my incarnation place, anytime that I've seen one, past, present, and future, this is a divine court hearing and a transfer. Anytime that I've seen one, past, present, and future, it is a divine transfer to and from the animate vessel, the inanimate vessel, the pet vessels, and any vessels, animate or inanimate, multidimensionally, that I, EYE Infinity, choose to receive the negative transfer, simultaneously transferring to I, EYE Infinity, and any animate or inanimate multidimensionally that I choose, receive a divine transfer of pure positive life force energy, record, and memory straight from the great God Universal Allah, whom the great God Universal Allah chooses to transfer the pure positive life force energy, record, and memory from to us. Right? Bismillah Infinity. That is how it's going until they are officially defunded. And I know people are like, well, it's bad out. It's bad out. You need them. But the truth, listen, I'm going to tell you the truth according to the great God Universal Allah. The truth according to the great God Universal Allah is if we as a species, if we as a people remove, transmute, purge our inner demons, we wouldn't see these manifestations of evil. And absolutely, we have been programmed to do evil. I've been programmed to do evil by Satan. Things like eating pork, things like, lack and poverty. This is evil. Poverty is evil. Lack is evil, right? Because that's not the consciousness of the great God is all abundance. It's all abundance, it's all divine prosperity, wealth, uh, all of that. So to be opposite of that is evil. It's a sin and it's evil. So we've all been programmed by a satanic empires and kingdoms here, and this is why we see so many manifestations of evil. That doesn't, I'm not gonna take the you know, I'm not gonna take the negative from what Satan did to the majority. I'm not gonna do it. And do I like seeing them? I don't like seeing them because I don't like being policed. Quite, like, come on. It's like this vessel having been persecuted by so many for absolutely nothing. The innocent being persecuted by them. It's my desire not to see them again, ever again. For them, the record and memory of them deleted on IEYE Infinity Earth. Now, Bismillah Infinity. Praise who? Great God, Allah. Now, obviously, you have to. Now, if you take away a negative force, then you have to substitute that with something that's going to supplement. It's going to be more positive. And that's why you have the same way that they have gangs, that there are negative gangs. Well, we could implement positive gangs, people that want to, like, neighborhood watch type of thing. But they're positive. They have they're still sworn into a code of ethics, right? They have stations. Maybe there are people that prefer to be outside. There are people that prefer to be outside. I'm one of them. The only reason it's a challenge, when it is a challenge for me to be outside, is because the weather modification, divine core hearing and transfer, any weather modification, negative weather engineering, the divine mile radius of Atlantic City, divine court hearing and divine transfer. It just, and the pestilence that has been created in labs, like the mosquitoes that collect the DNA, and they, it was a documentary out, The Big Buzz, with Bill Snakes. That's the only reason. But look, like the Prophet Noble Ali said in the prophecies and hadiths, when the European goes back home, they're 5,000 miles. When they go 5,000 miles back home to fight for, they're going to be outcasted by the Europeans that's already there. But when they go home, when they set exile back home, it's going back to tropical climates here. And guess what? It's nothing more than I love than to be outside. I could be outside all day, all night. It's nothing more that I love. If you don't have to worry about drug addicts on pharmaceutical drugs, if you don't have to worry about, the have-nots, if you don't have to worry about the have-nots and shit, and you ain't got to worry about weather modification and, this pestilence, these mosquitoes that is spreading disease and all this stuff, then again, I would love to be able to be outside all the time. Divine transfer to and from that emergency vehicle. The only reasons it's emergencies in the magnitude that it is here is because of Satan. So why should my consciousness have to continually be assaulted? Because what this nigga did. Nah. Um, Look, absolutely, people, The Purge is a universal disclosure movie. The Purge, and if you remember, it was one of them purges. I recently saw that joint. It was a purge where they ended up finding out that it was the government that they had the whole satellite imaging, and they were just knocking off low income areas. In that Purge movie, they were knocking off the undesirables. Right. That's what they was doing. They was knocking off the undesirables, going into projects, housing and shit like that. So this is universal disclosure. Leave the cities. Leave the cities before that timeline manifests. And that timeline being when they do institute the mark of the beast, right? Um, well, any that's not going to take that, any that will not take it, right? That's going. This is my theory. That's going to be how the undesirables are removed from society. That is my theory. So it's not going to be no. Oh, if you don't want to take the mark of the beast, then you don't have to take it. It's not going to be none of that. Divine transfer to and from that vessel too. Like that type of elongated stare is like from a vessel that is actually in Gehenna right now, even though they're on Earth. Divine transfer to and from that vessel, and transfer that energy to any who IEYE infinity choose multidimensionally. I leave the decisions up to higher self, because higher self is the infinite part of me. You know, sometimes I will direct it if it comes to me, but for the most part, this is higher self's work of redistributing, rechanneling the evils that we have been assaulted with. Like, look at that. I'm talking about the great God, universal Allah, and I got a wicked ass, dirty ass vessel like that, directing their evil energy over in my direction. And I've put up, for me to be angel of the great God, universal Allah, which some refer to as an empath, a universal cosmic sponge of both the negative and the positive polarities. I have technology. The great God, universal Allah, has installed technology into my etheric body. I do this I get these etheric surgeries it's off planetary surgery, meaning I'm not in no hospital here getting no surgery on my physical body to have these technologies installed. These technologies are installed in my energy body, and it is a surgery, but it's done on other planets. For example, a group that they directly work with my vessel and consciousness are the Arcturians. I go to etheric surgery. Etheric surgery from the Arcturians to bring their frequency here to Earth, because Earth this earth she's raising her frequency drastically. She has to restore back to divine order. So it's volunteers from so many places, from all across all time and space. They're I guess you want to say like that. They're volunteering their frequency on earth. So their frequency will be here on earth through a vessel like myself, like my vessel. And now earth has shifted because these beings are light years away. So we're bringing frequencies that are light years away on earth to assist earth with raising her frequency. That's why um I am deemed, whatever you want to call it, mutant X, extraterrestrial, meaning that certain codons or certain DNA has been unlocked that is not available to the human consciousness. It's not available to a human consciousness. So I've been deemed as extraterrestrial, uh, mutant X, and thus targeted targeted by the world governments for that reason. Especially the United States corporation, because look, their system thrives off of fear, uh, not just fear programming, but fear harvesting. So when this vessel is activated here with a way higher frequency than Earth, than the current frequency running on Earth, it's war to them. It's literally war to them. I mean, you know, the gang stalking, the frequency monitoring, the invisible fences, the directed energy weapons, the microwave weapons, all that being used against my vessel to literally for me to self-destruct, so that the frequency on this earth vessel does it doesn't raise, it doesn't raise, the human resonance doesn't raise how it would if I'm here in harmony, everything in harmony, my cells in harmony, I'm in harmony. If my vessel is in peace, right, I'm in peace, my consciousness is in peace, my vessel is in peace. That means my higher self and my lower self are aligned. That is the great God, universal Allah, made manifest on this earth. And that's freedom consciousness. That's love, truth, peace, freedom, justice consciousness. That's, everything of the great God becomes stationed right here on this physical earth. And that is not wanted by the wicked ones. It's not wanted by the wicked ones. They need fear programs running, so that they can control the majority, the masses. And it's like how they keep the animals on the farm. They keep them all huddled together in inhumane conditions. And this is quite literally what is going on here. And beings like myself are targeted. Any vessel that has a heart's desire to uplift, assist, help, and free the people, free the consciousnesses of the people, are not wanted. are not wanted. You're on candid camera. Oh, look. And as I start talking, look, it's raining. So, divine court hearing and transfer every time that it rains. Um, Infinity, petition the great God, universal Allah, that any animate or inanimate property, possessions, in any form that I choose, be destroyed, be deleted and destroyed, and the record and memory be transferred to the dimensions of the spiritual wickedness and higher dimensions and other dimensions, multidimensionally. The negative record and memory, consciousnesses, and energies be transferred to these dimensions and realities that are generating fear, that are harvesting fear, that are harvesting the masses, pure positive energy. Let it be transferred there for the demolishment, destruction of these times and spaces, these dimensions and spaces. So it's basically like it's leaving this Mother Earth vessel, which that is the intent. That's the intent. That's the goal. That frees her up. That means she has less negative energy in her consciousness. Because when it rains outside, um obviously to anyone that's assigned outside, when it rains outside, that drastically lowers my frequency. I'm a solar being, so it lowers my frequency, and that affects Infinity, Mother Earth. That affects her, because look, the universal law of one. Yo, you bet. I cast you away from me. I banish you away from me. Any spiritual wickedness in higher other dimensions attempting to get into my space through that inanimate object, arrest, capture, contain, incarcerate, incinerate, and cast to the great God, universal laws like a fire for the divine amount of time and space, sentence to weeping and gnashing of the teeth in all earth operations, banished and divinely ceased and desisted by Infinity, divine forces of wrath. Bismillah, Infinity. So this is a new age of Aquarius, is an age of offense first, versus the age of Pisces was an age of defense. Man, we're always on the defense because we're getting attacked. We're getting energy extracted from the wicked ones intentionally, but we're not knowing really what's going on. Like, this is a operation. This is a galactic energy harvesting operation from those wicked ones that recognize the universal consciousness beings, the 144 hertz beings, the vessels of the great God universal Allah. We were we were known at the moment of inception, incarnation. Again, the King Herod story, the Bible, the basic instructions before leaving Earth. The King Herod story, that was it was a government that was a look, King Herod, one man government, put a hit out on baby Yahushai, put a hit out on baby Yahushai. Let me, because he was an heir to the kingdom of heaven. um his consciousness was bringing the consciousness of the great God universal Allah to the earth, and is that is not wanted in a fear-based society, consciousness society, right? Mind coherent transfer. This says a hotspot portal. This is, look, everything in the physical is, it's just a manifestation of the spiritual world, the energy world. When you sign in and agree and all of that stuff, you're really going through a demonic portal. It's true. So the great God universal Allah wants you to have set up in your consciousness, meaning you do it so many times that it becomes on your mind, automatically is now doing this, closing all negative portals, uh, dissolving any toxic agreements and contracts multidimensionally. And it can go as extensive, you can write it out as extensive as you want to. This is in my default programming. Again, um the great God universal Allah uh putting me through shadow work, trauma release, DNA transmutation for the past 20 years. Just meaning, keep it in context, meaning simulation after simulation of the trauma, the trauma uh, recorded in my DNA from my indigenous native ancestors, that the poverty, I mean, everything that they went through, that coming up from my vessel, manifested in my external reality, having some of the most extreme simulations, even physically dying, like a physical death experience. The great God allowed me to go through. I'm talking about, so I just say that to say that every type of whatever the ancestors went through, um, I had to experience it in a lesser form, obviously, but um, it came up for me to revisit to purge these blocks that were created with my ancestral bloodline and lineage so that I can free my bloodline and lineage. I am the transmuter vessel for them. I am freeing them from the, yeah, I seen that. I'm freeing them from, she's about to come over here until she looked into it and I don't know what devil she's seen, but it's a lot around me. So, um, scary ones. I got some scary ancestors. But I'm the transmuter vessel for them. I transmute the records. Oh, should I? I transmute for them and transmute the record memory stored in the DNA and the subconscious mind of their travails, their trials and tribulations, and every simulation. I had simulation after simulation of these intense experiences that requ- listen, it was basically like purge or die. That's how intense. That's how intense these simulations were. Purge or die. And that's what the great God, Universal Allah, is saying to the all. Purge your inner demons. Purge your inner demons or depart from the flesh. Because once your demons are ready to come up, once these timelines are ready to be cleared, if you are the collective consciousness, or if you're a part of that collective consciousness that the great God is about to purge, that means your inner demons are materializing. They're materializing in your physical reality. That's what The Purge is about. The movie The Purge is about. So it would have to materialize in your physical world, in your physical reality. And again, by that time, you will not have the tools or the ability to properly transmute. Um, if you do it at a timeline where they've shut down the rest of the grocery stores and things like that, and you have not began the trauma release and the shadow work, the practice of fasting, well, if your body is dependent upon these extremely addictive chemicals, um, that the Food and Drug Administration allows legal limits into the processed foods, but nonetheless, still being just as addictive because it's storing up in one's organs and programmed in one's cells, things like that. You already know divine transfer to and from that. The animate vessels driving the inanimate vessel, divine transfer to and from, and any from infinity connected to the animate and inanimate vessels, multi-dimensionally divine transferring any negative record, memory, and pure and negative record, memory, and energies that I infinity choose, simultaneously transferring the divine amount mass of positive, pure positive life force energy, record, and memory 2I, EYE, infinity, and any from infinity, any animate or inanimate. Anything physical, material, it holds energy. So transferring the positive to any that I choose, animate or inanimate, multi-dimensionally, divine times fold. Bismillah infinity. Um, I put these things on a record the very elect, for the very elect, because again, this age, a new age, we're in a new age, age of Aquarius. It's about being on the offense versus the defense, being on a defense. This is a way to be on the offense. You're not letting any evil slip by, get programmed in your subconscious mind as unattended for. Because the subconscious mind records 24/7. We know this. We know that. We know the subconscious mind records 24/7. So we don't want to let evil have the free space to fester and to program into our subconscious mind that is always receiving and programming information, the information that uh, translated to my subconscious mind is emergency energy. Someone's getting hurt, someone's maybe getting killed, maimed, hurt. uh, Anything could be negative is going on, which is the reason why that emergency vehicle is there, going, traveling there, right? So now I'm alchemizing that evil that has manifested to my consciousness. I want EYE, I want to be responsible. I want to be responsible about where I direct any energy that's in my divine mile radius, my divine vicinity. I want to, that is my responsibility as a conscious co-creator with the great God, universal Allah. That is my responsibility as a vessel co-creating with the great God, universal Allah, to uh you know energy has to be directed. That's a law. Oh, divine. Yep, we got you. We got you, Elon. We got you. We got you. Every time I see a Tesla, every time I see a Tesla, divine court hearing transfer to and from Elon Musk head, all to and from all spiritual wickedness and higher dimensions, any entities recorded in Elon Musk head's book of life, Earth book of life. You got that right. Pay up, Elon. Pay up. Listen, we don't want your fiat money. You pay up in melanin. All that melanin you stealing for SpaceX to line to coat your rocket ships. Pay up in that pure positive life force energy, Elon Musk head. So anytime I see it, yeah. I'm just saying we're on at this stage in the consciousness, we're on automatic, auto repeat. So yeah, anytime I see a Tesla, divine transfer to and from Elon, divine transfer to and from any spiritual wickedness and higher other dimensions, any negative extraterrestrials, negative agenda extraterrestrials, uh, any human vessels recorded in Elon's Earth Book of Life. Absolutely. Elon Musk's head has a book of life. Any thought, word, or deed manifested concerning this earth vessel is recorded in the great God Universal Allah's book of life. You got that right. You got that right. So we have, again, this is about being on the offense versus the defense, right? This is about being in the offense, the age of Aquarius. Accounting for where has my pure positive life force energy gone? Why? Look, why am a vessel of righteousness living in poverty? That means that all of my pure positive energy was stolen. It was stolen at some point. So the bone collector has arrived and is on divine duty to collect the bones back. Eye bones back. All right, let's turn this off. Rothschilds, Fox, Wells Fargo. Well, the corporation and the business operations. That is the physical construct of an entity, a conglomerate of entities that harvest the energy of the masses. I'm holding your money. I'm telling you, this is your money, but I'm telling you what you can take out of the bank and what you can't take out of the bank. If you can take it out, divine transfer to and from. If you can take it out, I'm holding on to you done gave your blood, sweat, and tears, your how many hours? Divine transfer to and from that emergency vessel. Now, I don't do that on a regular, but again, because I'm on auto program, auto repeat. But again, you'll have to do that while you're raising your frequency and purging your consciousness. You'll have to do that on a regular routine basis to install that program. So your subconscious mind knows, your consciousness knows, uh, is energetically programmed that it's automatically calling in these divine court hearings and transfers. Like when these constructs, physical constructs, come into your consciousness or your reality. So again, the energy harvesting. I'm holding you onto your money. I'm telling you when you can't take your money out, but yet you done worked. You done worked 40 to 60 to 80 hours for that, and you got an entity outside of yourself telling you you can't even get all your money out. So some of the biggest energy harvesters on this indigenous native land. And absolutely, this is a divine court hearing and transfer against the Rothschilds. Every single Rothschilds, and in these divine legal proceedings, it is the consciousnesses known as the Rothschilds. I don't give a ish if you go try to change y'all names. We don't care. You're already recorded as the Rothschilds. And Fox, I don't recognize that entity. I don't. But the great God, Universal Allah, does. The great God, Universal Allah, has every thought, word, and deed from whoever this Fox is, has a book of life. Fox has a book of life. So I just have to be the vessel. I call on iLawyer, EYE Infinity, is this finite consciousness lawyer to bring these petitions directly to the great God, Universal Allah, the only judge. The only judge. The judge of all judges. Right? If there is a judge, there are righteous judges on this earth right now. That means they have purged enough sin and evil consciousness, satanic consciousness, to align to meet the great God, Universal Allah, in the heart space, to align with also align with the divine mind of the great God, Universal Allah, to be able to see clearly enough to judge between what is higher self and what is lower self. And we're not talking about those judges. We're talking about these shadow law judges. There is no justice. That's the only problem. But when you call in a divine petition with the great God, Universal Allah, the same way you would just give your story or give the whatever, be the plaintiff, give the complaint to the lawyer, and the lawyer represents your case in front of a judge, and an outcome is determined. And that is what we Infinity do. Infinity being the positive polarity that represents so many different beings. Infinity represents so many different beings, but are operating more and more from the positive polarity. There are the higher dimensions of that comprise infinity, the angelic kingdom that comprise infinity here on earth, and there are also the demonic kingdom that represent infinity. And they do the dirty work. I represent the demonic kingdom here on earth. It's not my my normal station is the angelic kingdom, but I volunteer to stay in the shadows, stay in the dark, uh, exactly how the great God, universal Allah, depicted the shepherd leaving the 99 and going after that one sheep. So that's pretty much what our intent and goal is here, to uh, have these divine frequencies impact consciousnesses, that some shall be awakened. That doesn't mean that they shall be redeemed and reconciled to the great God, universal Allah, this incarnation, but they shall be awakened. Shall these dry bones live? They shall be awakened for their next experience with the great God, universal Allah. And there are some that shall be saved as well. So we know that all men shall be redeemed and reconciled back to the great God, universal Allah, at some point in time and space. Um, it's just the truth that most will not in this, they won't in this incarnation, but in another, absolutely. So we still represent and bring the consciousness of the great God, universal Allah, here. What is just? Now, didn't the great God, universal Allah, depict in the Bible with the mighty king Solomon? What that was in right standing with the great God, universal Allah, but committed, right? Committed, was it, what you call that, adultery, and I think it was adultery and murder plot, murder for hire plot against Bathsheba's husband, right? Right? And quite literally coveted her and murdered her husband. Divine transfer to and from those vessels. You don't bring that before the great God. You'll find yourself in Gehenna by next month. That's a whole cycle. You got 21 days to program these subconscious minds. So, and we're literally in an instant age. We're in an instant age. So their judgment cycle can happen tomorrow. So it can happen right away. It can happen instantly, but I give them grace periods. But you come over here with that, demonic stuff. You could have did anything. You could have rolled in the. You would have been better off rolling down the street with cars flying by you than come in the presence of a transmission from the great God, universal Allah, and bring your filth over here. Direct your words, which is your energy, over here. So it's official. You're in Gehenna. You're in Gehenna. Gehenna, the lowest dimensions. It shall manifest for your flesh. It shall manifest. I just was being graceful, give you 21 days. But nah. So, would have been better off to roll down that street with cars flying by you than to do something like that. You know you recorded. You know you are being recorded. So I don't care about your peasant dramas. I'm talking about the great God, universal Allah, and this we had talking about the redemption of these vessels of righteousness, where we have the opportunity to be redeemed and reconciled back to the great God, universal Allah, and not only that, bring the kingdom of heaven to this earth. That was not available for 99% of human vessels on this earth. That has not been available. The age of Pisces. The age of Pisces was the working age. You had to work by the sweat of your blood, the sweat of your brows. You had to work. We're programmed literally to work for something outside of your heart's desire. That is not the case this age of Aquarius. Uh, we have the abilities, we have the ability to do and manifest our heart's desire. This age of Aquarius, that has not been available to the masses. And look, even your satanic world leaders they're showing you what's to come. Putting on a record, what's it? Either Bill Gates, Bill Snakes, or Elon Musk head is telling you by 2030 or 2036 that no human will be working. It won't be working a regular job. It won't be working a job. Yeah, man. Keep it moving, man. You want your job? You want to keep your job until the purge? Keep it moving. Um, they even put that's on the record on the internet, on the Ethernet. No, there will be no jobs. No humans will be doing jobs. I'm pretty sure he said by 2036. I mean, they're not telling you the real, what you're gonna have to do. Like how you gonna have to sell your soul for that existence. But these vessels of righteousness, the very elect, we don't have to sell our soul to be able to do that. Oh, we merely have to do this purging work. Uh, build our Noah's Ark, our light body. Well, Noah was building, right? Noah was building to, how would I say that? Withstand the flood that was coming. It was depicted as a physical flood, but we still know the universal law of the universal law, as above, so below, as within, so without. Anything that has a physical connotation has a energetic connotation or implication. So we know that um, there is, just like the great God universal Allah said, the wickedness on earth shall increase. Why? Why did the great God universal Allah say the wickedness on earth shall increase? Well, well, let's look at it from a physical. Oh gosh, this seat is so uncomfortable. Just divine court hearing and transfer, all the divine mass amount um, record, memory, energies of uncomfortability. Being uncomfortable on I Earth, EYE, infinity, Earth, past, present, future. Records um, are subject to divine transfers to and from any animate or inanimate that are recorded, either creating or generating either simulations, situations, um, to make this I vessel, this vessel, EYE infinity vessel, this human vessel, any animate and inanimate vessels, consciousnesses that I choose, EYE infinity choose multidimensionally as well, recorded, making this earth vessel uncomfortable by evil designs, right? Simultaneously transferring the positive record, memory, and energies divine times fault to EYE infinity, this vessel, and any animate, inanimate vessels, EYE infinity, I infinity choose multidimensionally to receive also the positive record, memory, and energies. Again, any animate and inanimate, it always uh, involves the records of the spiritual wickedness in the higher dimensions and other dimensions. Satan, obviously, that's the creator of the evil on this earth vessel. So it does involve uh, any human vessels used to make these vessels uncomfortable. So Bismillah, infinity praise who. So why is the wickedness? Why is a flood of, like, there was Noah was preparing for the physical flood? Y'all in y'all right mind, them little children, cause it's really, it really is chilly out here, man. It really is chilly out there, man. I'm out here rogue, and that again, that uncomfortability, divine court hearing and transfer, is because uh, if I be comfortable, then it's the opposites dynamic. If I be comfortable, then if this vessel consciousness is comfortable on this earth, that means I'm raising the human resonance of the earth. I'm raising the frequency of the earth. And the wicked ones they harvest the pure positive life force energy off of making others uncomfortable and things like that, and fear based, and that's how they are able to receive any pure positive life force energy, because they do not contain it. They're not vessels of the great God universal Allah, so they have to steal it, and they steal it by creating these circumstances on this earth vessel that are undesirable for others except for themselves. They only want things desirable for themselves. That's why Satan only chose 1% of them to have dominion and experience the fruit of the earth, that the age of Pisces. So, Bismillah, praise who? Um, that's the dynamic. That's the dynamic. So that's why I call in a divine court hearing and a transfer, because I felt uncomfortable. This little seat I'm sitting in, horribly uncomfortable. I got on little shorts. I'm cold out here. I'm chilly. I'm cold. Um, right. And I'm outside. I've been systematically oppressed, targeted to for an uncomfortable life so that they could live. Only so that they could live. The wicked ones can live. Ah, it's burning. I've been targeted for the most inhumane treatment. So these circumstances, external circumstances, would naturally make one lose positive energy. Meanwhile, the ones that are creating these dynamics, they are gaining my positive energy. They're exchanging my positive energy by uh, systematically creating these adverse conditions to the conscious, literally to the psyche, the consciousness, and the physical reality. So this is the collection process right now. This is the collection process. I am a debt collector. They owe me all of my pure positive life force energy back. Oh, steal her mobile temple. Follow her around until she does something where we can legally steal it. Steal that. We don't want her to have. We don't want her to have a home. Uh, uh, Mind control everyone she's around because they are in a lower frequency. Mind control them. Use negative extraterrestrial technology against them on their vessel. Send entities, do satanic rituals, send entities in their vessels because they are the shadows. They're the NPCs. They're the shadows. Send negative entities to possess them, to cause chaos and havoc in all of her relationships so we can isolate her so she has absolutely no one and is left on the streets to suffer so they can continue to harvest my pure positive life force energy. And that's why, again, this age, look, divine court hearing and transfer at the systemic persecution, the systemic oppression that was done to EYE Infinity, this human vessel and consciousness, and any animate and inanimate multidimensionally that EYE Infinity that I choose to receive in this pure positive life force energy record and memory transfer. This shall benefit all of the vessels of righteousness. The vessels, again, from the the higher dimensions, the angelic realms, to the demonic realms that have volunteered, have been assigned to do the will of the great God, universal Allah, whether it's get down and dirty with the folks out here. I'm out here. Like I said, I volunteered on demon time in the demonic kingdom. I'm here on demon time. So I'm here to get down and dirty with the folks, with the people, with the, not just the people, with the spiritual wickedness that be. I'm here to get down and dirty with them. I've been trained to get down and dirty. The great God said is, listen, they're just a shadow type. They are just a shadow type. The great God said, yeah, I need the great God, universal disclosure. Universal disclosure, people. The great God, universal Allah said, I need firefighters. I need, ain't no peace. Ain't finna be no peace. Except for the vessels of righteousness when we get our heaven on earth. That's our peace. But ain't gonna be no peace out here for a while. Don't even hope for that. Just understand. I'm just saying. The vessels of righteousness, we are hoping for our peace, our heaven on earth, but we got some fires, some fires to extinguish. Other than that, the wicked ones, uh, 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 they have every uh, 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 device to keep one's frequency lowered in this world, in this the world that is done and away with, but we're still seeing the manifestations of it, right? So the great God, universal Allah, is absolutely universally disclosing the great God, universal Allah, needs firefighters. The great God, universal Allah, needs police. You walk up in a place, boom. You know how many evil spirits you done exorcised? You banish from this earth just by your vessel and consciousness being in a particular location. This is another reason why they gang stalk me when I go to a different town or city or something like that. I get gang stalked because they don't want that these entities work for them. The spiritual wickedness, the entities work for them. They keep the drugs going. They keep the prostitution rings going. They keep the fraud. They keep the people suppressed. When people are harmed, are in a negative, well, that pure positive life force energy, it by law, it's going somewhere. By law, it has to go somewhere. And this is the agenda of the old world, the age of Pisces world that we're seeing falling away. Yeah, we're right. We're physically in the great falling away. We're physically in the great falling away right now. I need to get this skirt, man. It's getting chilly out here, man. But we're in the great falling away right now. We left a negative polarity, age of Pisces. We're now in a positive polarity, age of Aquarius, but we're seeing a falling away, the demolishment, the dismantlement what the demolition, the dismantlement, the destruction. We're seeing it. We're seeing the age of Pisces world falling away. Again, quite literally. Land, divine transfer to and from those prevosts. They got money. They got money in there. So, three prevosts. Divine transfer to and from these prevost vessels. I don't know who's in there, but we gonna run the records. We running the records to see if they on the how how they weigh in the scales of my eye. And if they weigh on the scales of my eye in the negative, send that over here. Send that pure positive life force energy over here. It's our time to be in the positive. Send it on over. Transfer it on over. Absolutely. Bismillah Infinity. That's why we called it Divine Court Hearing. To run, to pull the records. What type of beings are they? What are their records? If their records are in the negative, then they owe us. They owe us the best. They owe the vessels of righteousness. If their records are in the negative, they owe us. That means they've been contributing to the frequency being lowered on this planet, and thus they're descending. It's time for them to give whatever they gained from harming the earth for others. It's the wealth of the wicked is laid up, is stored up for the righteous. And that's what this is, this divine transfer. That's exactly what this is. Bismillah Infinity. So, now let me get so listen. You got that right. The great God, man, it's I can't say this enough. That's a creature from Gehenna over there. That's a delicacy. That's a delicacy to a creature sent here from Gehenna. To be able to dig in the trash and get some food out, that's a delicacy for a spirit from Gehenna they're sentenced to earth in a human body. Whatever the timeline may be, the wickedness on earth increased, and the divine mass amount of evil is allowed through a portal here. They're allowed through a portal, and they just, Bismillah, praise who? Great God, Universal Allah. Bismillah? Bismillah? What? You need the great God, Universal Allah, but may the great God, Universal Allah, bless your heart. So, now, so look, they're allowed through this portal. Once the spiritual wickedness goes right up, well, I don't know if I would say goes up or goes down, but once the frequency on the planet raises, the Schumann resonance raises, then the polarity, obviously, which is the negative polarity, it's going to decrease. The frequency is going to decrease on the polarity, because this is a realm of opposites, polarity, duality, right? Divine transfer to and from that emergency. If I stand here all night and hear this shit, I'm gonna be literally mind effed by the time this is over with. This is ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. Um, the frequency decreasing, and all right, so now the great God, universal Allah, allows a divine mass consciousness of evil to match the frequency that's now oscillating on this earth vessel. The great God, universal Allah, allows that over through a portal. And like once they come here, it's like how that movie, what was that movie? Look Who's Talking, when this, the seam, the sperm was, they was racing and trying to get that, fertilize that egg. It was in like a group of sperm cells, and they was wiggling, squiggling, and trying to get the egg. That's how they are with looking for they're looking for animate vessels to inhabit, to possess. Because it's like, wow, like they could have been lying dormant somewhere and they're back. They don't remember, and they're just back in the body now. And it's like they're ready to do what they're programmed to do. They're ready to do evil. They're ready to wreak havoc for these end times, for the culmination of every thought, word, and deed recorded for the age of Pisces, actually coming to a boiling point, which the great God, universal Allah, refers to as the great tribulation. That's going to be the boiling point, and that's what these spirits, these evil spirits, is here. That's what they're incarnating for. They're coming back for all of this evil, the evil that's been created through all of humanity's, and not just humanity's, but humanity's thoughts, words, and deeds created this dynamic. And all of this has to come up to a boiling point. It has to come up from the consciousnesses of all, and it has to manifest in the physical so that it can be neutralized, so that it can be brought back to 0 point. It's not suppressed. It's not like a volcano lying dormant. It's up, it's out, it's in the open, and everyone is working their book of life, their every thought, word, and deed. They're working that out in the flesh, in the physical. That's what the great tribulation, aka the purge, is about to be like. Again, it's some of us that's been purging for the past maybe decades, 20 years, and things like that. So we will not be a part of those festivities. Praise who? Praise who? Great God, universal Allah. Listen, I'm overjoyed that I had time to trial and error this ascension thing. And again, the great God, universal Allah, is absolutely seeking volunteers to stay behind in the shadows, in the dark places. This is, look, you see how many sirens and stuff is back and forth, back and forth. We be in places like these And these demons, listen, they see our the divine forces of wrath surrounding us, so they don't have the authority. They they don't have the authority to touch these vessels, except for what the great God universal Allah would allow and permit. And again, we have to understand that we have to train. We have to train the same way that if you were in any type of force or anything like that, you will have to be put through quite rigorous situations and simulations. Hello. Bismillah. You'll have to be put through rigorous situations and simulations. I've had crazy stuff happen. I've, been maced and things like that, and having things stolen, and, demonic activity, and having to fight like the same fight that Jacob had when Jacob wrestled with the angel. I believe that angels and demons are synonymous. They're just opposite polarities. But why was that an angel or a demon that Jacob was fighting? Because why would Jacob have to fight an angel? So that could have been a demon. Again, that was my experience, having to literally fight a demon. I'm saying this thing, I couldn't even get up. Honestly, in my physical body, I couldn't get up. This thing has so much of a force field. This thing, and I saw it. I saw it come through the portal. Literally, it looked as if it looked the same way, like the ripples in the air when it's like on a desert and it's real hot, but you could see like those ripples. When that thing came through, that's how it looked. And it actually I actually it shook the space that I was in physically. It had me pinned to the ground and was literally squeezing the life out of my solar plexus, to where I was right then and there. I was prepared to die. I'm like, yo, this is it. I had child vessels standing over me, and I'm helpless. I couldn't get up, and I was like, yo, this is. I told him I was going to die. I told him that was it. Like, I said, just go, because I'm finna die right now. Like, so we have to go through these rigorous tests, because that's what the great God, universal Allah, said: to whom much is given, much is required. But again, the great God, uh, absolutely needing volunteers to be light posts. Just post it. I'm a light post. There are the lowest vibrational beings walking past me, and it's limited. It's limited contact, because again, it's such a frequency dissonance that some of them, depending on how low of a frequency are, will be able to be invisible to these evil beings. That's going to be our saving grace. That's one of our goals as a vessel that has done the purging, meaning we've built our Noah's Ark. That ark, uh, the ark was a vessel, right? Well, these are vessels too, and that ark was to withstand the flood. It was a flood that was coming. Well, the great God told us there's a flood of negative energy coming. It's here and it's coming. It's going to keep coming. The great God said, the wickedness on earth shall increase. And again, I was getting into the science behind that, but it's like, absolutely. The science behind it is, all right, well, we have a hertz frequency. And if it's getting lower or raising, talking about the negative radiation, just as the positive radiation, the positive solar gamma radiation is increasing on this earth, well, the negative radiation is increasing because of the polarity, this being a realm of polarity, this being a realm of duality. So the wickedness on earth is increasing as on the opposite end spectrum. So that means as we have the ability to attain a higher frequency and a higher state of consciousness, so shall the wicked, so shall the evil and really empty vessels have the ability to attain the same degree of evil that we shall be attaining the degree of positive. And this is going to be the it's going to be the scary part about it. Like, just as spiritually advanced as you are, well, these vessels, they're going to be spiritually advanced in the negative polarity and the evil polarity. That's why you think they universally disclosed purge. That's why. So you got it going up from 5 to 10 to 20. I don't, whatever G, you got that going up. We was at 5G, but 2023, we was at, it said Xfinity, welcome to 10G. A few years, the commercial disclosed a few years prior that they had 10G technology already in 2020. So we're understanding that negative radiation kills all of the cells in the body. It does not just target your negative cells, your bad cells. It targets your positive cells, your good cells. So if we are radiating human vessels through all these different avenues, well, now we see how we're going to get to a purge timeline. Literally, these are going to be empty vessels. They are empty vessels. Empty vessels. They don't have any cells anymore. And they're just inhabited by evil. And the radiation has increased to a degree where this is just full on supernatural demonic possession. So us, the vessels of the very elect, the vessels of righteousness, we're supposed to be training right now for these timelines that we, by according to science, you have to know that these timelines are, no man knows the day or hour. No man knows the day or hour when this shit finna get wild. And our only saving grace is that we were instructed to be building our ark, our Noah's ark. We were instructed to be doing this the same way. There's no past, present, future. It's only now. Everything's going on, different variations of frequency, consciousness, and timelines, right? So Noah was instructed, listen, build this ark. There's a flood coming, build this ark. The world gonna be merry. They gonna be merry, drinking, eating, and being merry. But you keep building this ark. You continue building this ark. And this is convicting me right now, because this is from the great God universal Allah. It's from the infinite, but this is convicting my finite mind, because I be playing around. I be playing around a lot. I mean, I got to get back to really, really, really purging and training. I used to do it like, and it used to don't even matter, but I was on a crazy, crazy schedule. I mean, I'm talking about two individual separate 25-day fasts, just countless fasts, training, you know, building my ark, building my light body. That means I'm removing the density in my energy body. I'm removing the density in my consciousness, whether it comes from my ancestors or whether it comes from my incarnation or my subconscious mind from other incarnations that I have lived. But the great God said no one is exempt. If you were born and programmed into a satanic consciousness, a satanic conscious world where your ancestors came from the worst forms of oppression and slavery, that's in your DNA, that's in your programming. No one's exempt from building this ark, their Noah's ark. So we got more work. We got continual work to do, because if you notice, when Noah was told to build that ark, they was telling Noah, keep building until, and I don't know exactly how it was said, but keep building until it's time for the flood. So, that when you're talking about spiritually, that flood is the great tribulation. That's where all every manner of evil to the highest degree is going to be unleashed upon the masses on earth. And it's every man's demons shall be manifest and at war with the flesh, because they have been instructed to self-destruct. So that's on the horizon, and we have to be building our own individual Noah's Ark, to get ready for that. And again, we shall be taken up. We shall be taken up. That's another reason to build our ark, our Noah's Ark, because we shall be taken up. By that time, we'll be meeting our and I assume maybe it could be interdimensionally. I don't know exactly how it's going to manifest, but we'll be meeting our galactic family, and we shall be taken up on these apparatuses to quite literally watch it manifest, because we were saved. We transcended the flesh in our flesh by building our Noah's Ark, our light bodies, removing the density, the slavery programs, the poverty programs, the every type of negative polarity. We've been purging through practices. So we'll be able to, our bodies will be so light during that timeline, we'll just be taken right on up. That's what they talk. That's what they talking about, the rapture. We'll be taken right up on them apparatuses and seeing the hell breaking loose down here in light. praising the great God. Praising the great God. Like that's how it's gonna be. That's how it's gonna be. That's why the great God said, come out of her, my people, lest you be a partaker in her sins, lest you're gonna have to go through that great tribulation. We shouldn't be living for capitalism, consumerism, and commercialism. That's the beast consciousness. We shouldn't be living for that. We should be living to uh, for the great God, universal Allah, and doing what is allotted for us to do in whatever simulation or season that we are in. Um, I obviously I won't have a problem being in shadow areas leading up to that. Um, I've been trained here. I've been assigned to these streets. I've been trained here, and this is where this. If you want to see what demonic activity is working in your consciousness, live on the streets in a city. Meaning you don't have a backup plan, any comfort, any backup plan to where your consciousness is at rest. It's total upheaval. And because that's how your demons, that's how you can measure what demons you're dealing with, what demons are working within you. I can be out here with relatively going for these timelines and going forward. I can be out here relatively, I'm talking about all times. AM. I just slept on a cement. It's like a cement, I call it a cement bench with a black Muslim scarf over, like draped over my head. So I couldn't see. The scarf was totally over my head with my purse and my bag. Laying, well, I do got my business partner. I do got my business partner with me, but you know that who really knows? Who really knows that my business partner travels with me? But I mean, obviously I didn't have my purse like I was laying on my purse, but nonetheless, you know, it could be a lot of things that go on when you do things like that. And it's also a test of faith. I've woken up to, I'm saying prior times, I'm woken up to, people in my pockets and next to me and shit like that. And so we go from glory to glory. Um, I haven't had that experience. I've been, that was year ago timeline. So that's why we're going from glory to glory. We're purging, continually purging. And that's why the great God said through Yahushua, like, oh, I've been purging for 20 years, but these things during these timelines, you'll be able to do even greater. And one day is like 1,000 years. You'll be able to do a day's worth of purging, and it'd be like 1,000 years. That's to the very elect, because you don't have the 20 years to do this. You don't have 20 years to do this. The wickedness on earth is increasing as we speak. They already, They said they retired the penny. A lot of places are cashless. A lot of other countries like Sweden, and I think it's Sweden, some of them other countries don't even go over there with cash because it's a cashless society. They they got the microchips in their hand. Cash doll, the rapper, cryptocurrency doll, she has the face card. She swipe she swipe her face in front of the debit machine, credit machine, and it says approved. That's the mark of the beast. Beast, dragon, serpent, Satan, lower self. What did the higher self say to the lower self? That's the mark of the beast. Meaning you got to sell your soul. You got to sell your soul to buy or sell, and get that digital microchip implant. You got to get the digital microchip implant to buy or sell some fake products, goods, or services. It's some jobs where they don't need anything but their microchip. That's how they get into work. That's how they buy their food and stuff at work. It's going on right now. The mark, universal disclosure, the mark of the beast is here now. So we don't have time to play. No man knows the day or the hour. No man knows the day or the hour. Wake up. What are you working for? If you're working to survive, you won't survive. Survival is not written into the script. It's only redemption that's written into the script. So, how many times do your satanic world leaders need to tell you that you are being replaced by artificial intelligence? You are not needed anymore. How long are you going to work to survive? How long are you going to work to give all majority of your pure positive life force energy to an entity outside of yourself that cannot save you? Only the great God, universal Allah, can save you. They, your satanic world leaders already told you you will own nothing. That's in the prophecies and hadiths of Prophet Noble Ali, more signs simple of America. The government shall be collecting all properties back, and we're seeing it going down. You know how they obviously how they attain this. Oh yeah, we're going to raise the what is it, the interest rates. They got your interest rate spiking. You end up not missing out on one payment, two payment. Some may have happened, and boom, you end up in debt that you can't get out of, and now they collecting your property because they said you don't own the land. So the bank comes in, collects your home because they say you don't own the land. Well, wait a minute. Let's go. I want to call in a divine court hearing and a transfer because this government does not own any land here. This is the great God, universal Allah's earth, dirt. They didn't create that dirt. They did not create that dirt, that land. What type of rubbish is this? They did not create that dirt, that land. I'm calling this divine court hearing and transfer against every entity that is the thought form of any physical construct called a government that declares that they own any land here. Because, well, let's just see what the great God, universal Allah, decides in this divine legal proceeding and matter. Let's see what the great God universal Allah rules of who really owns this land, because when you don't pay your mortgage, they can collect your home because they say you don't own the land and they say they own the land and this is private property and this is, so I'm calling in a divine court hearing and a transfer on this matter regarding who owns the land. And I am petitioning for the divine mass amount of pure positive energy that is literally harvested when someone they can go years and years and years. This is just one situation, but they can go years and years and years and I paid their mortgage on time, and then some shit happens all the time, right? All the time things happen. What you looking at, man? Things happen all the time where anyone can be without the ability to work and they may end up losing their home. So it's a lot of pure positive life force energy being harvested off of this type of dynamic from some really nefarious negative beings, including Satan, some really nefarious negative beings that do this type of theft. This is an energy theft and it's done by evil design. So I, as a vessel of righteousness, am calling in this divine court hearing. Um, Divine court hearing and transfer to these firefighters. Ah, firefighters. Divine court hearing and transfer. Whoa, it's a crazy night out tonight, boy. Oh my gosh, what the world? Yo, Atlantic City done turned up since I was born. It done turned up out here. I don't know. Oh. So again, there are some really negative, nefarious beings that are evilly, systematically engineering these dynamics. Someone loses their home, they're losing their pure positive life force energy, especially if they had that home past a certain time. So it's a lot of pure positive life force energy up for grabs, and I recommend you guys get in the game of filing your own divine petitions, your divine lawsuits and petitions based off of your individual reality, because anything that is in a negative polarity that manifests in your physical reality is a divine court hearing and transfer opportunity. This is a ground floor opportunity. We're grabbing the biggest, we're getting the biggest and the best. We're getting the biggest and the best. Is there anyone else out here calling in their divine court hearings, petitioning their divine court hearings and transfers? And there obviously is other ways. There's other ways to purge the evil within so that it will be an instant transfer. The more that you can receive, the more that your vessel and consciousness can receive pure positive life force energy, right? That just means you can receive it. But if you are filled with the negative polarity, negative energy, then you do not have the room for the positive. So that's why following these divine petitions, these divine legal proceedings, is you are telling a judge that you are aware that some type of negative has transpired that has stolen your pure positive energy, and you're merely requesting for it back in whatever other uh awards that is available to you. You may petition it, or that's available to you, that's available to your bloodline, um all of that, your bloodline lineage, those that they may not be vessels of righteousness necessarily. They may just be vessels that you represent, that you are guardian over. You want them to be beneficiaries as well. I think I'll end it there, because it's already at 2 hours. But again, going back to that last, want to sum up that last point about why we have to build our Noah's Ark, our light body, remove the density in our body. Well, because there's of a flood. It's going to be like a tsunami of tsunamis called the Great Tribulation, where all the evil comes up in the whole collective, the masses, all the evil comes up at the same time and unleashes on the world, upon the world. That's what the purge was universally disclosing, and we are instructed to be building our light bodies, removing the densities, because this flood is coming, where if you have density in your body, because like attracts like, you won't be able to escape. You won't be able to get away from your demon. You won't be able to flee your demon. Your demon will find you. It will be external, manifest in the flesh. It will find you, because that's just law. Like attracts like. Divine transfer to and from that vessel, the animate and inanimate vessel, for interrupting my stream, my transmission with that music. So that's universal law. Like attracts like. So your demon will find you, where, I don't care where you're at. I don't care if you're in the mountains. I don't care, wherever you're at, your demons will find you to self-destruct, to destroy you. It's why we're instructed to remove these densities while we have the chance. Because the only thing you're going to be able to do during them timelines is keep running it, and keep running. That's why the great God is saying, purge or depart. I say purge or die, purge or depart from the flesh. Purge or depart from the flesh. Because you will be departed from your flesh. If your demon ain't gotten that huge, and it's been attracting conglomerates of demonics, just from living in this world. You go next to a being, you come in a city, and you're bound to catch spiritual fleas. You're bound to catch entities. You might have family that are of the extremely low frequency. You might have people at your school. Yep, Devon, yep. Cover your face. You ought to be shameful organization. Divine transfer to and from. Um, you go to school, you're dealing with extremely low frequencies, all the lies that you was told growing up. And hey, by the time you get ready to get out of here, it's like, man, we're like saying if you haven't been doing a purging work, you're like a flea fest in your consciousness. So uh it's literally gonna be a wild, wild west dynamic. Again, purge or depart from your flesh. That's the only options during if you do not if you're not doing what the angels of the great God, universal Allah, and like instructed Noah to do. Come on, build this ark, build this ark. The floods come in, keep building. You're gonna see people eating, drinking, being merry. Everything's gonna look normal. Keep building. And then that rain started. They was like, come on, y'all, let's get in this ark. Come on, y'all, let's get in this ark. And guess what? All the demons was, oh, can we come in? Can we come in? Divine cohering and transfer. I think that's what that movie Sinners was about. Yup. I just gonna go off on a limb. I'm gonna go off on a limb because I normally don't see movies. I normally don't watch a lot of movies. Praise who that I haven't been programmed like that. But I got to see that movie. I got to see that movie because I was at a Moorish